Yeah, good morning, guys. This is Workin, bringing you a quick update on STEAM. Currently July 9th, Monday morning. Hope you guys had a great weekend and are off to a good start for your week. We're looking at STEAM to BTC pairing, one-day chart on Bittrex. We can see that STEAM has developed this massive descending resistance line here. It's been in place since May, actually since since late April thereabouts. Been tested quite a few times, especially in the last week, guys. I mean, this is about as strong as a resistance line as you can get. It's been tested multiple times. The price has been able to break through a few times by a wick only, and the bears quickly rejected it back below this descending resistance. So for now, guys, this is the massive zone that we need to break past, the massive obstacle that we need to break past if price is going to continue to the upside. Zooming in here, we can see that when we did have that massive break, we did have that spike up. I shouldn't say massive, but we did have a spike in price that coincided with the spike in Bitcoin price. We had a nice increase in volume here, and then volume just died. We've got to see a continuation. We've got to see a follow through in volume, guys. We're seeing just little spikes in volume here and there. If we look in the past, you can see spike, 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 but it was always followed by just a massive decline. We're getting a spike, which tells me that's just pure manipulation, followed by just a drop off, just nothing. Then a little spike, then nothing, little spike, and then just nothing. We need to see a spike in volume and then follow through. And until we get that follow through in volume, guys, we're not going to break above this resistance line, and we're not going to continue to the upside. Not just on STEAM, on anything, guys. We need to see volume increase throughout the market before we're going to get any kind of a long-term sustainable bull run. If I pull out my MEAs, let me just zoom in here. The pink line, that represents the 55-day EMA, the yellow is the 21-day EMA, and the blue is the 8-day EMA. We can see all throughout the months of April and June, price was unable to break above, well, just very briefly, but for the most part, the 8-day EMA was acting as very strong resistance. Price finally broke above a few days ago, broke above the 8-day EMA, was able to break above the 21-day EMA. That was a very bullish looking sign, and then it came to a dead stop as soon as it hit that descending resistance line, was wicking above it, as I said earlier, and then just completely was shoved back down by the bears. And even though the bulls have been trying ever since to break above, their attempt has been futile. It's just been unable to. Price has just been unable to break above there. Right now, it's been pushed back down below the 8-day EMA. That is a bearish sign. That's telling me the bears are taking more control of this market. And we need to see the bulls have a win here. We need to see the bulls push it back up at least above the 8-day EMA to get any kind of bullish momentum coming. And again, as I said, ideally, guys, we've got to break above this descending resistance line. Zooming in closer, we're looking at the 4-hour chart. Excuse me. We can see prices getting squeezed tighter and tighter within this wedge. As it approaches the apex, we're more and more likely to see a break to the up or to the downside. The question, which way is it going to go? Let me just tighten this up a little bit. The question is, which way is it going to go? As of right now, guys, it looks to me like it's probably more than likely going to break to the downside. I say that because we've got no follow-through in volume, as I was talking about earlier. We need to see that follow-through. We need to see some strengthening in the market, and we just aren't seeing it as of yet, which tells me that as it tries to test this resistance line, it can only test it so many times before it's eventually going to break. And usually that line, or the bears are going to take full control, and the bears are going to push price back down. Since it's been unable to break, since we've had no follow through with volume, that leads me to believe that more than likely we're going to see a break to the downside. If that does happen, we're going to find support more than likely at this 21.5K Satoshi to 21K Satoshi support zone. We can see that support zone's been in play for quite a while, going all the way back to mid-April. It's broken through a couple times, but only by a wick. It broke through here at the bottom, quickly came right back up. So I do expect it to find some support between 21.5 and 21K Satoshi. I wouldn't be surprised, guys, to see it break to the downside, bounce back off that support zone, come back up, test the resistance zone, and just kind of play around in this area. And as it approaches the apex of that support and that descending resistance line, more than likely we're going to hopefully see a break to the upside. If Bitcoin can hold off, if Bitcoin doesn't decide to break, we know that STEAM is tied to Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin drops, STEAM is definitely going to drop. I say definitely. If history is any guide, 99% chance that STEAM will drop with it. Bitcoin rises, STEAM will more than likely rise with it. And we're just going to have to wait and see which direction it goes. But I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see price break down as it just kind of consolidate between that support and that resistance until we get closer to the apex and then just shoot up to the upside. assuming that Bitcoin doesn't just completely drop. If it does, then we're going to continue it to the downside, and more than likely we're going to hit this support zone down here at about 12.3k Satoshi or thereabouts. A lot of room to drop if it does break through that 21k Satoshi, but for now I don't expect that to happen. Assuming Bitcoin can maintain its current price or higher, I expect it to just kind of consolidate in here until we get enough volume to break to the upside. We've got we've got resistance sitting at, we had a nice supply zone sitting between 24.7k Satoshi and 25.5k Satoshi. I'd expect if we do break to the upside, there to be some significant resistance there. I wouldn't be surprised to see price break up, come back down and test what was support, would then be what was resistance would more than likely then be acting as support. Wouldn't be surprised to see price break up into this zone, come back down, test the resistance, test what was resistance that would then be acting as support, and then come back up to test that resistance zone again, and hopefully break up above it that second time. That wouldn't surprise me a bit. If it does break to the upside, the next zone we're going to be looking at for resistance is about 27.9k Satoshi, and above that about 31k Satoshi or thereabouts. Looking at the MACD, I'm going to just zoom in here. This is again on the 4-hour. We can see it's just dead. I mean, the histogram is just dead. It doesn't get any. It doesn't get any tighter than that, guys. It's just there's just nothing there. We can see the trend line and the MACD line are literally sitting right on top of each other, showing no indication of which direction price is going. So that can only last for so long before we do get a decisive break in one direction or another. Looking at the RSI, that jives with the wedge on price. We can see also the RSI is getting squeezed tighter and tighter within a wedge. And eventually, as it approaches the apex, again, probably more than likely within the next day, we are going to see a break to the up or to the downside. And unless, as I said, unless we do see volume increase significantly, I wouldn't be surprised to see a break to the downside. Looking at the stock RSI, we can see it is also looking rather neutral as well, as neutral as a stock RSI can look, sitting kind of right there at around 50. It is kind of showing a little bit of break to the downside, so maybe favoring to the downside, as I was saying, guys. That's pretty neutral for a stock RSI. So these are my quick thoughts on STEEM, guys. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, actually, I'll give you a quick Elliott count as well. I apologize, guys. Got a little bit ahead of myself. Looking at this from an Elliott perspective, let me just pull our fib retracement tool. And we can see price. Price has respected these fib levels all the way down. We could see that it came down, it tested, and hovered right around that 382 fib level before breaking down, wicking numerous times into the 0.5 fib level before breaking down again. And now we're sitting within that golden zone. The golden zone, the golden ratio is the 0.618. We call it golden zone is between the 0.618 and the 0.65 ratio, but the zone between those two ratios are considered the golden zone, guys. That's where it's kind of sitting there and hovering. That's where prices often goes to. That's why they call it that golden zone, guys. Price is attracted to that more often than not. And we should more than likely see, I say more often than not, the price hits this level, this ratio, more often than any other ratio, I should say. That's a more accurate way to say that. So that's why that's called the golden ratio, the 618, and the golden zone between the 618 and the 0.65 fib levels considered the golden zone. Price is just sitting within that golden zone, guys. And if it does break below, we can see the next fib level would be the 786, which jives nicely with that support down between 21.5k Satoshi and 21k Satoshi. So that is going to be a strong support zone if it does break to the downside. To the upside, guys, as I said, we're looking at the 24.7k Satoshi. Okay, from an Elliott level, this is clearly, it almost looks like a perfect 1-2. And then the question is, where is the 3 and the 4 and the 5? We'll get to that in a second, guys. For this 3 to be accurate, again, 3 is often the longest and the strongest wave. We need to see volume confirmation to confirm a nice strong wave 3. If in fact we do get that volume confirmation and we can break above that resistance, we can break above this 24.7k resistance, a logical target for wave 3 is going to be more than likely, let's pull it out here, guys. I'm a very conservative when it comes to wave 3, often goes above the 1-to-1 ratio of wave 1, but very, very conservative target for wave 3. If we can break above those two resistance points we just referred to, is more than likely going to be right at the top yeah, just above that resistance zone, so just above, probably around 32.5k Satoshi or thereabouts, we'd see more than likely then a little bit of a retracement. We had a deep wave 2, so wave 4 probably wouldn't retrace quite as much, and then on into wave 5. So that's that looks to me from more than likely an Elliott perspective. That looks like a textbook 1-2, even if we do come a little bit deeper, and we'd be looking at something like this. So, but that is my Elliott count for now, guys. But we do have a lot of resistance to get through before we can even think about a strong wave 3. So let's watch the volume, see where that goes. Once it breaks above, if we can get above this descending resistance line, guys, that's going to be a very, very bullish indication. And of course, if we can break above this 24.7k Satoshi, 25.5k Satoshi, that's going to be extremely bullish as well. So these are my quick thoughts on STEEM. Any comments, suggestions, questions, criticism, praise, I take them all, guys, in the comment section below. If you have enjoyed this content, please remember to upvote or re-steam. I certainly would appreciate that, guys. Remember, I do this for you. I don't do this for myself. So an upvote and a re-steam just lets me know that you guys are enjoying the content and that I will continue to do this in the future. Going forward, guys, as I said, if you do have any suggestions for me, anything you'd like me to add or delete, please let me know that as well. Until next time, guys, please have a great week. Take care of yourselves. And this is Workin signing out.